Hello, welcome or welcome back. Today we are talking about purging because I've had a few people ask me about it and I have since had another experience of it. So I wanted to share a bit more about that with you because that is part of, sometimes, not always, but it can be a part of this process. If you are up-leveling your stories, then you may experience some purging. So I just want to talk a bit more about that today. Stick around. So for those of you who are new here, welcome. My name is Hedley Derenzie and I am a qualified life coach. I am an author and I am also super passionate about the amazing teachings of the law of assumption as originally taught by the great American mystic Neville Goddard, who wrote a number of books that are all included in the complete reader, which I highly recommend. So essentially the premise is that it is the stories or the assumptions that we tell that create our reality. And that has certainly been my experience. So if you want to change any part of your reality, then you have to start by first changing these stories or assumptions that you're holding in consciousness. And if you want to create the most amazing reality or life for yourself, then you need to know how to tell the most amazing stories. And that's where these teachings can really help. And that's why I am here. I want to help you to tell much better stories and then experience a much better reality. If you would like support with that, I have a number of different ways you can work with me, including one-on-one coaching or quick coaching, which is all done on email. I also have a free 21-day Set Yourself Up with the Ultimate Self-Concept course. And I'm on Instagram as well. You will find all of those details below or at my website, youaretheone.com.au. Okay, let's get into it. So I am once again very excited to be coming to you from my beautiful new home, which I purchased about 6 weeks ago and I moved in 3 days ago. I started changing the story about my home in November and then just the pieces all fell into place from there. It's a super quick turnaround. It's 6 months from the idea of wanting to change my home story and then to being now in my dream home, which is just beyond, in fact, what I had been envisioning. It's just been amazing. So I have been in here for 3 days and I wanted to talk to you about the purging process because, well, a few of you have asked me about purging. It's something that you may have experienced yourself. And by purging, I mean some kind of emotional or physical release. So what happens with purging is when you get into these teachings, there can be a bit of a backlash physically and emotionally. So when I first rediscovered these teachings, probably about 1.5 years ago now, the first few weeks, like what happened is that there's an initial sense of excitement, like there's this kind of a sense of, oh my God, like this is it, this is the answer to everything. And yes, it is, by the way. But there's that initial excitement where you're like, finally, I have the keys to life. I understand how this game works. This is gonna be awesome. Like we're gonna have so much fun. And yes, again, you will. However, with that, there is also an initial purge. And I certainly experienced that myself where probably the first few weeks were like awesome and amazing because I was suddenly everything was possible and I can write new stories and I can create new assumptions and my life is just going to be awesome from here on. And then not too long after that, just everything turned to shit. Like it was bad and it probably went on for, I'd say, a good few weeks. There were tears, there was anger, there was like so much emotional upheaval in my life back then that at the time I was like, what is going on? But I had done enough work with this sort of stuff that I knew that this was a release. I've done a lot of therapy and I've done a lot of things in my life. And generally when there are some big shifts, I've had those purges in the past where I get sick or something happens and, you know, like you just feel like shit for a while. So I kind of knew that that's what was going on. It can be super intense and it can be really confronting because you think everything's going to be amazing and then you feel like the worst you've ever felt. Probably the key is there's nothing you can do. You can't force your way out of something like that. You have to write it out. But what I would suggest that you do is remember what is happening. You are in the process of changing your reality. You are in the process of changing your consciousness. And when there is change, there can be an upheaval and there can be a release. And that can be a good thing. It depends on the assumptions that you hold about it. Remember, it is the assumptions that create our reality. So whatever assumptions you're holding about anything is what will get reflected back. So what are the assumptions that you hold about purging? What are the assumptions that you hold about those emotional or those physical releases when you are in the process of changing and up-leveling your stories in consciousness? And I wanted to share another example of a recent one. I started changing my home story in November, as I've said, and really working diligently every day, pretty much up until December 25th when I stopped the living in the end process. That was a point of conviction where I was like, yep, I'm in my dream home now. And I have been living here for the last 3 nights. Now, I love this. Like, I am so beyond happy. You know, this is a dream come true, literally. However, so the first night that I was in here, I did not sleep a wink. The second night, I was vomiting. The third night, I had diarrhea. Now, those 3 experiences were confusing for me at first because I didn't associate them with purging. I was just like, what is going on? Once I kind of got over the confusion of what's happening and I realized what was happening, which was I am in a physical release. Like, I'm experiencing a physical release of the old story. Like, I have switched timelines. I'm in a new reality. This is a new reality for me, and it's massive. And my body is catching up to that. And there is an emotional and a physical release to the old story, to all the old shit that I had running in the past. And literally, it's like my body getting rid of what is no longer needed. This is actually just a purge. Like, I recognized what it was, and since then, everything's been quite fine. But I just realized that that's part of this process. Like, there is an up-leveling, and with that can come a release. Sometimes they can be really painful. This wasn't. This was just obviously uncomfortable. But once I realized what was happening, things kind of calmed down a bit, and that was great. But I really felt pretty sick for the first 3 nights that I was here, as things were just catching up. So I wanted to share that with you because when you do up-level, and this is a massive shift in consciousness. For me to go, I've never lived in a house like this. I've never let alone owned a house like this. This is so phenomenal for me. This is such a big jump in my consciousness to be able to hold a space and to be in a space like this as a result of holding a new story and holding new assumptions. There's a release of the old. The old is no longer needed. It's no longer necessary. And you will find that as you shift your stories and shift your reality and move into another reality and another experience of this physical expression, there can be a purging, whether it's physical or emotional. And just to remember that that's what's happening. You don't have to freak out about it. And if it's one of those painful emotional ones, just let it ride through. Just know, hold the assumption that it is a release, that this is a good thing. This is moving you along. This is up-leveling you to this new story, this new reality. It's just moving through. The energy is just moving through. It's nothing to fight. It's nothing to resist. And in fact, when you do resist it, that just tends to prolong it a bit. So surrender to it as best you can. I know it's not easy. And sometimes you just have to be honest with yourself and go, this sucks. This is shit. I hate this. All of the other things that you might want to say. And that's cool, you know, let yourself feel and express what you need to do in a safe and respectful way to yourself and others. But just remember that that is part of the process. It's nothing to be afraid of. It's nothing to sort of run away from. Just, you know that this is you up-leveling you. This is the results of your incredible work that you've done. This is bringing you everything that you want. So anyway, sorry if that was too much information, but I did want to share that because that was my experience and it might be yours as well. So just remember, it is okay and it is part of the process. And also remember that you are the amazing creators of your reality. You are the superstar of your show. You are the producer, the writer, the director, and the actor in your movie. What you assume to be true will be so. So assume the best for you and assume the best for everyone in your movie too, and you will have an amazing life. And this is my wish, my vision, and my prayer for you. Okay, thanks for listening. Please leave your comments, your shares and likes and whatever else. And if you'd like to subscribe to my channel, I would love to have you. And I'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye.